We're planning the National Zero Waste Conference in Berkeley, and we talked a little bit about it. That for 50 years we've had kind of an agenda, and so we were looking at you know what have we done in the last 50 years? And when we started out, we really didn't know anything. I mean, when I took over the Long Beach State Recycling Center, Dr. Rooney was the chairman of the ecology group, and I was the ecology commissioner, and we both had to read about what ecology really was. It was just we didn't know. The other thing is we didn't have the instruments to measure uh, what was there. We could measure with parts per thousands with a microscope. So when people say that's polluted, you say prove it. But today, 50 years later, we've got electron microscopes. We know that the drinking water in San Diego's got Prozac and Viragua in it. We don't know what that means. We think that's why we're oversexed, but we don't care. But the fact is, we can measure these things happening, and now we have to fix it. So what I thought and we thought was that maybe as end of the 50 years, we'll look at what we did and then look at what we're going and then see what we've come together on. And so we created a list of a declaration. Now, when COVID hit, of course, everything shut down. But I do think that this declaration is important. It's been widely reviewed. It started with the Global Recycling Council of CRA, and then we shared it with the Zero Waste USA and ZWIA, the Zero Waste International Alliance. Got a lot of international input. Took it back to CRA to all their technical councils, and built that up. And when it finally went to the board, it was a unanimous decision to sign on. What I'd like you all to do is, after we get through it, is think about maybe taking this in a resolution form to your city councils or to your organization. Primarily, it's what we think we have to do. I mean, at this point, after 50 years, we kind of know what we have to do. We might as well get on the same page. So this is the Declaration of Zero Waste. First slide. So it's 50 years ago. Recycling was a natural industrial child. Was envisioned to complete the resource circle, save the wilderness, generate jobs, and build back the end of the GMP all at once. That's kind of what we saw in 1970. That's not exactly what has occurred. Next slide. We believe, though, today, after going through all this and talking about that, the earth calls us, each and all, to move swiftly towards a zero waste. The zero waste world will be founded on environmental and social justice principles that will help create vibrant communities in harmony with nature. Next slide. A collaboration that came up with this, and it's very important. Center Equity. We stand in solidarity with and support the efforts of frontline communities in Black, Indigenous, and people of color. We envision a just and inclusive system resulting in a sustainable and regenerative future while advocating for policies and practices that ensure human safety, equitable access to resources and opportunities, and elimination of toxins and pollutions that negatively impact ecological health. Next slide, please. Redesign. We insist that manufacturers minimize and, where possible, eliminate hazards and redesign products for highest material and energy efficiency, focusing services and products to embody durability, repairability, reuse with recycling and composting as the final option in that order. Next slide. Ban all wasteful products. We will ban products that are demonstrated to be wasteful by design or contaminate recycling or composting programs or are problematic in the environment. Next slide. Make producers responsible for problem products. We insist companies minimize and, where possible, eliminate the hazards of their products posed to the environment and human health throughout the entire life cycle of the product, from resource extraction to final disposition. Further, producers should be held financially responsible for remedies of their products and impact, including costs for healthcare, management of discards, and environmental cleanup. Separate at the source. After redesign, we will collect all discarded materials and products separated at the source and further sort them into higher quality fractions for reuse, recycling, or composting with nothing left out and nothing left over. Rescue food and compost, organics. We will establish support programs to rescue food for people and animals and to recover organic materials to make and use compost and mulch to reduce and sequester greenhouse gases. Next slide. Support and expand repair and reuse. We will support existing reuse and repair organizations and infrastructure and expand opportunities for reuse and repair through outreach and education, promotion, and investment. Build zero waste infrastructure. We will invest in zero waste infrastructure, including resource recovery parks to safely salvage usable items and parts and handle all discards as resources to be refined. End welfare for wasting. We will end subsidies for resource extraction and support choosing recovered materials first for manufacturing. Advocate and adopt as needed. We will use our power as advocates and as professionals to show what is possible and help policymakers avoid mistakes in meeting the goals that we help them envision. Responses to new challenges such as pandemics, natural disasters, and weather-related emergencies should not create barriers to move towards a just world of vibrant, resilient, zero-waste communities in harmony with nature. To achieve a worldwide culture that sustains the planet in perpetuity, we stand together. These are the groups that have endorsed it. We want your group to endorse this, sign on, let us know. We'll put you on the list. We'd like to make this in terms of a resolution in city councils or in businesses. We think this is our agenda for the next, I don't say 50 years because I'm not sure I'm going to be around for 50 years, but at least in the next 15, 20 years, we should try to accomplish these particular goals. That really is the end of this symposium. I'm going to turn it over to Ruth. I want to thank you for attending. We held over 150 people. We had 200 registered. We had over 150 people throughout the whole entire day, which I think that's pretty amazing. We want to thank our sponsors for supporting this and Zero Waste San Diego. And I want to turn it over to Ruth Abbey, who's going to put us into the breakout rooms.